What up is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. When we hit 2K, we're going to be giving away a free signed DeAndre Swift jersey. Hopefully he comes back from his AC joint sprain. We're going to be going through the duds of Week 14 and what to do coming up with some of these injuries because a couple of players left in a walking boot, which is not so great. Let's start off with Thursday Night Football. We had Dalvin Cook, 35.2 points. When you talk about 205 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on 27 carries, you look normal. And it's one of those things that you have to understand that when you're, yes, there was a couple people who were like, you got to start your studs. You always got to start your studs. You always got to start your stars, basically. And that is true to a point. But there was definitely risk with him having an injury just basically a week and a half prior of him missing 2, 3, 4 weeks with this dislocated shoulder, with a torn labrum. So there were some big concerns that he might only be at 50%. And the biggest problem I think that came with this conclusion was Pittsburgh's defense was leaving college-size holes. Like when you go on to Madden and you go into pro setting or rookie setting and you have these ginormous holes, that is what Pittsburgh's defense looked like right away. TJ Watt also got hurt, but that was after Dalvin Cook already had quite a bit of damage through the Pittsburgh defense. And so Dalvin Cook, a stud, of course. Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, man, it's just like, yep. Are you surprised? Lambeau Field, are you surprised on Monday night or Sunday Night Football primetime game that they scored 45 points as a total offense? So you're talking about Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams all being studs. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers, now rumors are that his toe is worse now. It's a pain tolerance thing. I don't see him missing time. I really see them just kind of him fighting through it until the end of the season and then him having some sort of off-season surgery probably right after the season is done, is what my prediction is. Tom Brady, the GOAT. When you talk about a guy 363 and 2, 7 rushes for 16 yards and a touchdown. That's a weird line to see Tom Brady have 16 yards rushing, but 30 points in fantasy. Josh Allen was the number one scorer at this point, 35.22 points, 308-2, 12 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. The biggest concern for Josh Allen, of course, is that he left in a walking boot. And so turf toe is potentially the rumored thing. He did finish the game. So here's the thing. He finished the game. He, even with his 12 rushes for 109 yards and a touchdown, Buffalo desperately needs him in the upcoming weeks here. I'm actually just going to look and see what his schedule looks like. Carolina, New England, Atlanta. So, of course, New England not a great, they're not going to be in a win bowl, but New England not a great time to have an opponent. But Carolina next week should be a decent matchup. And then, of course, Atlanta week 17. If you make it to week 17, Atlanta is a juicy matchup, like one of the best matchups. So I see Josh Allen performing next week. I don't think I'm going to see Mitchell Trubisky out on the field. I think Josh Allen's going to be out there. Just know that his rushing may be limited. You're going to be looking at more of a, I'm trying to think of even like a nuked down Josh Allen. Think of Josh Allen his rookie year, where he was QB 10, 11, 12. That is where I could see him more into. You're probably not going to see 12, 109 and a touchdown, but I mean, look at how well Aaron Rodgers has performed the last following weeks with an injured toe. Aaron Rodgers has still destroyed people with his arm, and I think Josh Allen is an automatic start unless you have somebody like Herbert or Tom Brady, which a lot of teams won't have. So Josh Allen is pretty much an automatic start. Hunter Renfro, 14 targets, 13 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. He's a stud. At this point, they are running through the offense of Hunter Renfro, and they're targeting him a ton because Waller's been hurt. So, Waller, if he comes back, he's an automatic start. Josh Jacobs, you're starting him. And Hunter Renfro, you're starting him. It's just he's an automatic start at this point because he's been getting a ton of targets. And honestly, Raiders' defense has not shown to be very consistent at all. Which was if you want to talk about karma, them going out on the field and basically stepping over the logo, and then the first play, them fumbling basically for a touchdown, and then they were down 35-0 at half. If that's not karma, I don't know what is. But that was absolutely hilarious. I thoroughly enjoyed that kind of thrashing. I hate when teams do that. And so to do that on Kansas City's field, I just think is disrespectful. Not a Kansas City fan per se, but I just think that's disrespectful. Kittle, Andrews, two tight ends that had amazing years. And so you're looking even at a dynasty perspective, there's really three tight ends that are going to be the top three. And yes, I said TJ Hawkinson was in part of this group before, but I really think the lackluster of Jared Goff, don't know what the future's going to hold. It's going to be Kittle, it's going to be Andrews, and it's going to be Pitts. It's probably going to be Kittle, Pitts, Andrews, kind of in that order, or Pitts, Kittle, Andrews, depending on your team philosophy or your team construction. If you're a win now team, Pitts is not going to be the perfect tight end for you now, but Kittle has been amazing. Again, 151 yards and a touchdown. He's been, if he's on the field, he's absolutely amazing. He's a tight end. He's up there with Travis Kelce, but the problem is he's always hurt. So can he stay healthy is always the biggest question. And Mark Andrews, 115-1. He seemed like him and Bateman both responded good without Lamar being there. And Lamar does limit some of these pass-catching weapons. Rashad Penny is the guy that I wanted to get to. He's probably the one that is going to be the biggest pickup, I would say, in the next week. We're going to talk about waiver wires tomorrow. We talked about Rashad Penny. I almost thought he had one catch for 1 yard. He did, but he had 16 for 137 and two touchdowns. They're 26.8 points in fantasy. And just honestly, at this point, we don't know what's going with Alex Collins. So just keep an eye on that Seattle backfield. But Rashad Penny is going to be one of the biggest pickups. Taysom Hill, as we talked about, you got to pick him up again. 11 for 73 and two touchdowns, including a big 44-yard run. He is somebody that automatically has to be picked up. He's going to be he's never not been a top 12 quarterback if he's had almost all the snaps in a game. So you look at that in that kind of thing, and you have to respect that he is kind of a cheat code with all of his rushing. Some guys that are maybe not a ton out there, of course, Jakeem Grant had 1 for 46 and one. Also had another touchdown. Again, he had the punt return touchdown. It was really kind of cool to see. Not going to be a pickup, but just a guy that did super well. Javonte, of course, and Melvin Gordon, that annoyance there. Allen Lazard had 6 for 75 and one. We all thought it was going to be MVS, but bye-bye. Here comes Allen Lazard again. So again, another pickup that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And that is about it. I mean, we're looking at some of these guys, and it's just kind of the KJ Osborne. Again, he's Thursday Night Football, 3 for 83 and one, but he did have 9 targets. So just understand that he was one of the pickups that we talked about last week. A guy that I'm not touching is Derek Gore. I understand he had 9 for 66 and one, but a lot of that was towards the end of the game when it was 35-0. Even 42-0. Did it get up to 42-0? Yeah, I think it was up to 42-0. It was 48-9 is the final, so that's just a ridiculous score. Some players that didn't do so well. Joe Mixon was potentially sick, didn't have a great showing. Antonio Gibson didn't have a good showing either. And then Jonathan Williams, of course, comes in and gets the touchdown run. I think Dallas's defense just stifled him, and so that's going to be somebody. Again, Antonio Gibson, he had such a good last month that this was bound to happen, that Antonio Gibson is not going to be a consistent RB1, or else he would have a really good game against Dallas's defense. He's an RB2. He is in the realm of categories with probably CEH. Trying to think of another running back that would be around that. Barkley this year. He's in the category of Saquon Barkley this year. Barkley, who had, again, 16 for 64, 3 for 31 and a touchdown. And a decent game, but again, Barkley is kind of an RB2, a high-end RB2 this year, and so is Antonio Gibson. So these are Darrell Henderson right into that, or Sony Michel when Sony Michel takes over Darrell Henderson's role, which he is going to tonight, not tomorrow night. So again, some players that we do have to look at. Debo had a rushing touchdown. Ayuk, it seems like Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, they're gonna sprinkle them all in there, and they're all gonna be well. So we're gonna go through some waivers, some panic meter buttons here and stuff like that as well. Comment below on who you want to pick up on waivers, and we're gonna get to that tomorrow. So we're gonna go through the top ones because this is important time. We're going into the playoffs times. So especially if you are a team with a bye, that is also important. I have a buy, so I'll tell you who I'm going to be looking at as well, because that's important to look at. In fact, even like with the buy apocalypse here the last week, somebody dropped Ramondre Stevenson. They kind of had to, because they needed to win now, and they didn't have roster. They couldn't fit him, and so he's now on my team because I didn't need him last week or just yesterday. So again, this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. We hope to see you tomorrow. Peace out. Take care.